Yo, what's going on everybody? It's Augie, and today we're once again back with another tier list, but this time instead of ranking some of these shonen protagonists, we're going to be ranking the antagonists of shonen. Again, with me we got Mast and Ronin, so of course, say what's up guys.
Yo, what's up? Happy to be here on the tier list talking about some antagonists. Should be very fun and interesting to see where these characters rank and why. So I'm happy to be here.
Augie has a gun held to my family, and he said if I didn't do this video with him, that he would make me pay. So I'm here, and if 911 you're listening, help me. I live in. No, let me stop. All right, let's just.
911 doesn't watch my videos. Anyways, hit the bell, sub, I'll do all that stuff. Let's just get into the tier list, man.
I'm sorry. Like 911 doesn't watch my videos. There's no hope for you. All right, I'm sorry. I ruined your intro. All right.
All good. Hit the bell, sub, all that stuff, whatever. Let's just get into the list. Aizen. Oh, make sure okay, the three characters, because my list kind of messed up. It's Aizen, Akaza, and All For One.
Yeah.
Top three.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so we can go with Aizen first. I think, like we said earlier before we started recording, we're kind of like on a consensus of everything. We can probably just throw him up in like a tier we all think it is, and just talk about him for a little bit. For me, I'd personally throw him in S tier. I think it's kind of an easy one from most of the characters on this list, but what do you guys think?
Yeah. Yeah. I have one complaint. All right. It's not really a complaint, but and this is gonna matter because I think it's gonna apply to a few of the antagonists that we have down the line. But not every antagonist needs like a fully fleshed out backstory, as I think having a bit of mystery to the character and why they came to be is nice. It's just I love Aizen's character so much that I wish I knew how little Aizen grew up to be like this. But no, I agree with S. I just wanted to throw out that sentiment with his character.
I mean, he does have a backstory, but
he does, but minimal. By then it's like, yeah, it's very minimal, and by then again, he's already like an adult, basically. You know, like I'm wondering what happened in his childhood.
I think Aizen is another one of those characters that doesn't even need to be fully fleshed out in terms of like not his character, but like it's kind of like a Joker in a way where it's like kind of does things behind the scenes, and that's kind of the character you perceive it as, unless when he's on screen. But I think it's pretty easy for us to for him.
One thing I want to say is it applies to Aizen a little bit, but it'll more apply to a lot of the characters going down the line. I think being a good villain does not necessarily mean being this super philosophical, deep character. By the way, Aizen kind of has that to him. But I just want to make that clear that some of these rankings won't just be, oh, their ideology is the best. It's about them as an antagonistic force and how they like impact the story and things like that.
Right. So push the narrative, push the protagonist.
A lot of that, considering he was like, yeah, I planned your whole life, Ichigo. So I mean, I feel like he's kind of got that down pat.
Right. I think people do misunderstand that a lot. And that's not what I was just, again, trying to, for anyone watching to clarify again. That's just because I really like Aizen's character. Part of me really wants to know, like, his origin. But I'll agree with what Ronin said, and it's very true. Like, all because they're a morally gray antagonist doesn't always mean they're automatically a better antagonist. Every character fulfills a certain role based off of what's needed to push the story. So, and that I think a lot of that does depend on the protagonist as well. You know, like you need an antagonist that can counterbalance the protagonist. So sometimes if you have someone like Ichigo, for example, who's just kind of chill and has pretty noble goals, although simple ones, then just get like this full-blown evil mastermind. Like that's you know. So but yeah, no, Aizen S.
All right, so yeah, S for sure. Akaza, I'm only aware of like some stuff in the manga, but more so the movie I seen and read more of the Mugen Train. Off rip, I know he's like far better than Muzan for sure. But I don't know where I would really rank him. Like that's what I'm trying to do. Look at every other character and see where I would put him.
So for me personally, I can't speak for Mass, but like most of the upper moons were more like impressive or just like kind of cool to see on screen than Muzan was personally. I'd have him at a B, and the reason I place him kind of relatively high in the like kind of in comparison to other Demon Slayer characters is I really liked his backstory. Like the author of Demon Slayer does this a lot, right? Kind of infamous for doing this, but like when the character is about to be defeated or when, you know, both sides look like they're relatively even in terms of how much damage they take, he goes into the backstory, or I think it's a she goes into the backstory And Akaza's was just really cool and heartwarming and kind of like, I don't know, Master, if you felt like this. It was just like a really, it was kind of an example, almost the opposite of Aizen, where he doesn't necessarily have as much cool factor, but he's just a much more sympathetic villain. When it comes to his interactions with like Tanjiro, with the Rengoku, and like with all the other characters that he comes across. So I put him in B off of that. Some people may disagree, put him lower. Some people may even put him high. But for me personally, B is like kind of like in the middle to middle pack of where the B tier characters would be, is where I'd probably place Akaza.
Yeah, I think Akaza's great, and for all the reasons Ronin like said, I think out of all of the characters in Demon Slayer, especially on the antagonistic side of things, he's by far the most memorable. I think he probably has one of the strongest introductions as a character, but then he also, I think, has, like Ronin said with his backstory, like the strongest exit. Like, you remember Akaza really, really, really well. And it's weird because you could take another example. For example, in like Dragon Ball Super, you had Jiren, who everyone liked as a character until his backstory came out, and we were all like, nah. But with Akaza, it was the exact opposite. So I'm really excited to see where they take his character. I don't know if we'll get that in season 2, because I know we saw like his introduction in the movie, but I don't know if I don't think they're going to be covering.
It's not. That's like the last part where where everything goes down, really.
Okay, because I don't know how many episodes like Demon Slayer covers, because I didn't bother watching. I actually don't even know
how long this season's gonna be. I think it might just be. I think first season was 26 episodes, but I remember people saying that this movie is. Or like the movie's gonna be covered in the anime, which
it is.
It's kind of weird.
But why? But like. That's a little weird, because I feel like that.
Here comes the money.
But yeah, true. Money, right? No, yeah, that's true. Demon Slayer is going to be one of those series that we're going to see a good bit of for the next, I think, decade, because of how much money they're going to try and milk out of it. Because I mean, when you put up that many numbers, my God. So no, yeah, I'll you know, I low key was like, just as because we could always move characters, so I was thinking of like a low A, but I'm fine with B.
I just say B just because of how much I respect a lot of the characters I'm about to put in A. So
no, yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah.
That's fine. Then I'll throw them up in B. All for one. Dang man, this is another one. It's tricky to me because I think Shigaraki is far better, at least right now. But agreed. I think within this last arc, he's had a little bit of shine, but it's like another one of those background moments kind of thing.
All for One to me is just real menacing. He's just real like cunning. But and the thing is, he's a pretty good like antagonist, but he's only recently turned his sights to Deku.
Right.
And I just haven't like, I guess kind of we get it with All Might, but he gets bodied in that fight, so I don't really feel the menacing nature from him.
It's
to
not
me,
really...
he's built up. It's more potential for him than it is actual execution for me personally from him as an antagonist.
Okay.
Yeah, I think based off of that, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna go C, because it's raw potential. You know, I think he's a character that's being built up for a lot, and so I can't judge a character off of potential. You know, it's just like a basketball player.
That might cause a little bit of controversy.
Yeah, because I feel like people like All for One a lot. I just feel like he's cool, right? He's not like bad by any means, but it's just like most of his appeal to me is kind of like that underlying, like, oh, he's cunning, he's scheming in the background, but I want to see what this amounts to, right? I'm trying to see like the outcomes.
Yeah, versus like, because look at it, you have a character like Akaza in B, where we saw his beginning and end as a character. Like, we saw his action completely as a character, so it wouldn't feel right having someone who, again, is just like, there's a lot left to be done. Yeah. So I think C is neutral. Like, people need to understand C isn't negative. It's neutral.
It is.
Like,
it is.
For you to be in C, having basically most of your character left to be desired.
It's not a finished character, so there's always room for more. I was thinking low B, but I think we can throw him up in C. Looking at everybody else for sure, that works. Blackbeard. Are we all in agreed to C? Though for All for One?
Don't know anything about it. Oh, for All for One, yeah.
Oh yeah, I was just making sure. Okay, Blackbeard. I'm just thinking back to what Dice said yesterday, man.
I was thinking about that too.
I was
like, yes, sir. That Griffith Guns dynamic.
See, for people that don't know, a YouTuber by the name of Dicehead27 made a take saying that by the end of One Piece, Luffy and Blackbeard's dynamic would pretty much overthrown something like of Guts and Griffith, and I kind of pointed my way to why I don't think that's gonna happen.
For one, Dice hasn't read all of Berserk, and two, a character dynamic with subtleties shouldn't. You know what? I'm not even gonna.
Yeah.
Dice is a. That's what y'all need to know about Dice.
Chill.
Dice is an absolute. All right. Oh you could bleep it out, but like I
got you. 10 minutes, 40 seconds. Okay. Anyways, Blackbeard. I'd say there's a lot of hype moments for him, and there's a lot of background. He's another. Bro, there's so much background stuff because. Like, he's not really a character that's gotten that much shine. But every moment he's made in One Piece has been something that's been very impactful on the series.
Right.
I can name like 3 or 4 right now. I don't want to spoil, especially for Ronin, but he probably doesn't care. But
I honestly, think he's another character, right? That there's like the best of him is yet to come. That's what I would really argue with Blackbeard. So it's like based off of that, I would throw him in like B. Not gonna lie.
I'd throw him in B too. That's kind of hard for me to say because in terms of One Piece standards, that's kind of like he's obviously on the higher echelon of characters, but there's a lot to come from him. Like he's being built up like immensely. Like it's actually crazy. I think B's fine then.
Your character overthrowing the best Jesus Christ. Let's just move on.
Sorry,
I think he's above Akaza though, and that's just biased because I haven't read all of. But that's just me though. Anyways,
yeah.
Cell. So we actually have all the Dragon Ball the main from the Z. So we'll do that.
Right.
Okay. So.
Cell's that guy. Can I say that? Can I say that?
Like,
Cell?
You can.
I feel like
I have a weird relationship with Cell. What were you gonna say?
Okay. Here's what I'll say. First form Cell, he cool. Second form Cell, kind of a bum. Perfect Cell, I like Perfect Cell. Now this may be the bias talking. This may be the cool factor, right? I just feel like he kind of has this. I kind of like his evolution is this like. Almost like this insect scurrying around, running away from all the Z fighters, unable to like run the ones against them, right? And he slowly evolves into this character that's just like, I'm going to wash every single one of you guys, right? Individually.
I'm gonna set up a tournament so it can be publicly televised.
Yeah. To me, that's just cool. I don't.
In terms of a cool factor, I think it's a big flex as well. Like he's he's a big flex. In terms of character though, I think he's just like compared to like someone like Frieza per se, like I think he doesn't live up to the par.
He doesn't live up to Frieza. I don't think many Dragon Ball antagonists do personally, but I will say like from like my bias kind of like fanboy standpoint, like he was just really cool and I really like him for that cool factor, right? He was kind of menacing especially when he got into like his perfect form. You know, when I was like, all right, bro, like Goku blew your entire like chest off and you're like just chilling, like, oh, okay, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, so I like him. He was pretty cool, but
you like him?
I don't know. Maybe like it's weird. Like I wouldn't put him honestly. I don't think I like him as much as I do Akaza.
I think he's
put him probably like high C. B tier, you think?
I think because like in C we have a character who has much to be desired from, you know. So it's like Cell. Ran an entire arc and really well, mind you.
Right.
I don't Cell and I think a lot of the Dragon Ball and all of the Dragon Ball antagonists are examples of characters that don't have this philosophical moral complexity. It's I'm going to either you're going to beat me or I'm going to blow up your planet, and it's like you're going to. It's one of those two, you know. So with Cell, my only thing is with Cell, and I'm gonna admit it, is I've watched the abridged version of Cell so much. Listen, we were talking abridged to Cell, I would throw that up an S. Because that version of Cell is like so ingrained in me that I've forgotten the original a little bit, okay? From the anime. The manga is a different story. Yeah. But I genuinely think Cell is at least a B tier antagonist. Because I mean I don't see what he doesn't do well, you know, and again that evolution thing was really good. because I'm gonna be honest, when I was a kid, that first version of Cell horrified me. Like that thing was just creepy. And then second form, yeah, kind of a bum, gets like hoed by Vegeta, but then he played Vegeta so hard. And then Perfect Cell is just an animal.
Yeah,
like
he's just
animal.
that guy. He's really that guy.
Yeah.
He, like you said, he ran the whole arc pretty much. I think B's fine then.
Yeah.
I don't really have any disagreements for them. Chrollo.
Ooh, I got something to say for Listen. Chrollo has to be one of the most rated characters I feel like I've seen in Shonen, and let me tell you why, right? I feel like he's put onto the same tier. Like, I've seen people say that like Chrollo's like a better antagonist than like Pain, a better antagonist than like Meruem, like the best antagonist in Shonen. And I really try to kind of take my step back, right? Because although I like Hunter x Hunter, it's not like one of my favorite Shonen or anything. I try to take my step back. I'm like, okay, why would you like him so much, right? He's cool. Okay. Cool factor. Let's put it on Max, right? He's cool. He's really cool, right? His technique, pretty cool. He fights well. He has some good fights, especially in the manga. Cool. I can keep that in mind. And then I'm like, okay, people are always praising him for being this like super complex character, and I'm like, is he complex because he doesn't like know who he is? Like he has an identity crisis. It's like that's the core of his character. Like there are plenty of people, I think, in anime and manga that do it well, that I'm just like really confused why Chrollo is always singled out. This doesn't, by the way, overrated doesn't mean bad. I don't think Chrollo's bad. I just really don't see the hype for him. Like I understand it for Meruem, I understand it for like these other characters, right? But Chrollo is just such a all right like antagonist for me. Like character, he's definitely cooler, but I feel like as an antagonistic force in the series, he's cool. He's all right. He does his job,
I definitely
I
wouldn't
guess.
have him above Hisoka or Meruem.
Yep.
But in terms of a cool factor, like you said, like I definitely have them both above them, and especially his fight in the manga with Hisoka, I think that really was kind of like his true shining moment, if I'm being completely honest. But damn, overrated. Like yeah, he is overrated. I mean, it's not bad, like I said, but
Yeah.
like you said, I was thinking A, but now that you kind of like refresh my memory, I think he's probably like a B.
I have Chrollo in A, but that's just because I personally find him interesting. Now, I have the other two Hunter x Hunter antagonists above him in A, or at least
Okay.
A, but S. So for me, I would put Chrollo in A just because I can vividly remember like seeing Hunter x Hunter for the first time and then going on to read it, and there's like a presence to him, and I think he's a character that I think maybe depending on what you've seen or what you read, and I think at what point you read Hunter x Hunter, Chrollo will come off as a little bit maybe different in terms of impact, because I will agree with Ronin, like Chrollo isn't the only character to have a bit of an identity crisis, moral crisis with what they do, you know, he's not. So if you've seen another antagonist that does that in a more compelling way for you, then it is what it is. But for me, I definitely think out of all the antagonists we have so far, I definitely have him.
He's got a weird vibe to him for sure, and I think I kind of can see where you're coming from. I'd have him in high B and either low A, but
yeah,
I think
either one of those is fine. Like personally, I don't have him that high. Like if I were to like be like, okay, in comparison to these other characters, but like I don't have like this hate boner for Chrollo or anything. I just don't see the hype. Like that's the simplest way I can put it. It's like I look at Chrollo and I try to like look at his character and I'm like, he is cool, right? I don't get any like there's just nothing like there's no emotional attachment and there's no like thing that I look in the series for and I'm like, oh, it's for this and this reason that they like him so much. Even if I can't emotionally relate, I kind of understand. I don't really have any of those things, so I'll kind of let you guys take the wheel with this one. I just wanted to get my 2 cents.
I think we can. I think we A is fine, honestly.
Okay.
I was gonna say something else, but you pretty much already said what I was gonna say. So yeah, I think A is fine. Low A. Mast.
Yeah.
Okay. It's your favorite Black Clover antagonist.
Oh yes,
Dante.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The bomb. Nah,
you want to hit him first?
I think we can just drop him in D for Dante. Does that not work?
That does kind of work.
Y'all want to just do that and move on? Let's do it.
I'm
like,
down.
let's not waste
I'm honestly
any time.
down. I don't really. He's not compelling in any way, shape, or form. Like, there's a lot. Like, Black Clover overall, in terms of its antagonists, are just very like lackluster in my opinion.
But before you guys tell us we don't understand it, like, okay, I get it. He covers like Machiavellianism, like that's what the whole Dark Triad is for, like blah blah blah. Like, bro, I get it. It's just not executed properly, in my opinion. Like, I get that's what his philosophy is supposed to be. It's just not done to an interesting or well manner, in my opinion. Like, I get his purpose. He just does not do it well.
Okay, we can move on to Diavolo. I think. We'll just, okay, let me do this right now because I was going to do this earlier, but since these two are together, let's just do the JoJo antagonist in order. So we'll go with Dio first. So we'll do part 1 and 3, and then Cars will
part
be
1
second.
and 3. Ooh,
Yeah,
I think
put them together.
I think Dio's a character that
Where's Cars?
he's the definition of just being pure evil, but working it out well. Although we could also include what we saw of him a bit in part 6, because that's also Dio.
Right, of course.
So with everything in accumulation, and based off of the characters that we have so far,
And Pucci's
Dio's an S. I think Dio goes an S.
I think Dio,
I'm
yep. Presence,
I
everything
agree.
he's lived up for.
I can speak for part 6 personally, but all I know is Dio's a villain. There's only, I think, a couple of other characters on this list that I'm excited to talk about that are like this level of just evil. Like, yeah, we'll talk about him soon. But
he plays the villain role perfectly well. Everything he does is amazing. Cars, I'd say Cars is honestly like a D tier. I don't really have much to say to him. Part 2 overall is overrated as hell in my opinion. Like, I'm saying it's not bad. It's definitely not like it's my personal.
I didn't have to. Oh,
it's my least favorite JoJo part. I personally love 1 a lot more than 2. Especially on rewatch and reread, but Cars is a bum. I don't like him. I don't like any like Wamu.
I have
or
Cars in
AC/DC
F.
anymore.
I don't like Cars at all. I'm fine with just
I'm throwing him below Dante, honestly, with you.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I don't really care about him.
Kiryushi Kage.
That's an S for me.
This is a man. I just personally didn't enjoy it. I can understand the themes, but I just didn't enjoy them as much as everybody else did. That goes for part 4 in general.
A?
I have him at A, but that's just me.
I mean,
well, if that's the vote, then it's whatever.
I'm down to just throw him in A, honestly. Like when I compare him to
Chrollo,
Dio,
at least, right?
I'll throw him above Chrollo for sure.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Get
I
that
do
bum
that
out
for
of there.
sure.
No, I'm joking. But I just, like Augie was saying, Dio is just kind of like outclassing him as a villain for me.
Right,
Maybe you
I
could
see
say
it as a whole
Cars
different
or
league, in my
Cars,
opinion.
Kira has more depth, but
I'm outnumbered.
Kira's got a hand fetish and Mass has a foot fetish. You know, it's not.
All
fair.
right,
Like,
all right.
two sides
And
of
you
the
got a
same
man
coin.
fetish, all right? Fucking. Sorry, bleep all that out. Jesus Christ. All right, who's next? Diavolo? I think Diavolo's a B.
I think he's lowest to be.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I'm down for that. And Pucci's an A tier for
Yes.
me. Really?
Yeah, I think Pucci. You know what? Because
You think-
Kira's an A, Pucci goes an A. Yeah.
I don't know.
I put Pucci part 6.
Oh, okay.
He's the
Nothing's a coincidence.
he's that guy. He's the only manga character I have on this list. So if he's
Got you.
on this out of the pictures, I think. Yeah, he's just the color.
Alright.
He's the black dude with the white hair.
White
The
hair.
little bread. Yeah.
We were talking Weather Report, which is, as a character, but
I
specifically
thought Weather
bro.
Report as the best character in part 6. I think that's.
Oh, he is. No, he is.
Yeah.
Weather Report.
Ranking Weatherman here. All right. So where are we putting him at? Like A tier?
I
Or
put him
F tier?
above Kira, in my opinion. I don't know about Mass though.
I have him below Kira. I have Kira number 2 of all the JoJo villains. So
Do you have Dio above Kira? Is that why?
no,
or-
Funny Valentine from part 7.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's actually I need to read part 7. I haven't read part 7 at all. which I hear it's the best part, and I love JoJo. So,
Doflamingo,
I think that's an easy S.
S,
That's
yeah.
an easy S.
Yeah, I think if I were to do a shonen like antagonist, not tier list, but just like a ranking, I don't see Dofi not making it in my top 5, maybe top 3. 5 years, top 5.
Wait. Top 3 antagonists? In shonen or general?
In
Shonen.
shonen.
Okay.
In general, he's actually like top 6. Like in general. Like I think like Ronin, listen. I don't say a lot of good things about One Piece often. This dude though is different, dog. Like so you know how you like just villainous, right?
Yes, sir.
Imagine if they took that, but like low key did it. I would put him at the top of S.
Like you have basically you have a chance
better
to
than Aizen?
Yeah, not gonna,
you have a chance, pretty much, without spoiling, this man had a chance to become somebody good and do great things, but it's just like, nah,
no.
I'm going for the villain path.
He said, nah. And the thing is he, although Aizen's like the mastermind, Dofi has that element of like mastermind swag that Aizen has, but with raw villainous energy that Dio has. But Dofi has like a compelling backstory as well. Like that's part of it as well. Like Dofi has like that extra piece. So if his character wasn't enough, like then you learn his backstory and it's like, yo, this dude was different from like the age of what? When did he Ronin doesn't care. When did he kill his dad? When did he shoot his own dad? He was like 9, right?
He was like
he
9
put
or
a bullet
10.
in his own father. He
Yeah.
was and he did it because his dad basically like his father is of like this group known as like the Celestial Dragons essentially, and they're like basically supposed to be this royal family. So instead they go down to like live with normal people and they treat his family like hell because of it. So Dofi was like, "Oh, Dad, this is your fault." Bang, and then just kills his dad basically. And he proceeds on to basically be like the plug of the pirate world. Like he's not the strongest guy in the pirate world, but he's untouchable because of the position he put himself in. This dude, Dofi's the shit.
And even now, like he acts. I mean, his nickname is Joker, but he acts like, especially when he's in prison locked up, he gives me like Joker from DC vibes, just in that way. I don't know though, but S tier for sure, though, for sure. Dr. Zeno, from Dr. Stone. I'm on like 5 or 6 chapters away from catching up. He's basically just this, I don't know. Wait, Ron, have you read Dr. Stone?
I'm a little bit behind, but
do you know of him at least?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like the first antagonist to really parallel to Senku in a way. Beforehand, most of the antagonists were kind of like these brutes.
Meatheads,
yeah, pretty much meatheads, and this is like the first character that really like stacks up to like what Senku is as a character. I was told he is like better than, I don't want to say names, but I was told he was better than a lot of like the shonen antagonists in Jump right now. I personally disagree. I personally disagree.
That's not about their series. Everyone, bro. It's like, this is better than everything else in Jump. It's like, get in the back of the line. You're not the first to say that.
Get in the back of the line. He's cool.
His
from
character,
what I've seen, at least. Yeah,
his character arc, I'm pretty sure, has ended, at least from the antagonist standpoint. Because Senku usually just befriends a lot of his antagonists. And they kind of just work together. But he's cool. I wouldn't say like A tier though. I'd say like a B tier. Because as an antagonist, yeah. I mean, he didn't really... Actually, honestly...
C?
I think C. I think below All for One, honestly.
Fair.
I'm not trying to be biased or anything. I think he's really cool and his character's cool, but he was kind of like just riding on... He was like on a bag. He was pretty much like a backpack. Like the entire time, like they're journeying around the world and stuff, and like he wasn't really doing a lot. But he's cool and he's really, really smart, and I don't know. That's pretty much it though. Father, Fullmetal. That's not the actual. I think that's not the full form, but yeah, it's not. But
what y'all thinking?
Oh wait, so Jordan, you weren't here last time, but I pretty much caught up to Fullmetal. And like I watched everything, and I fully like kind of understand the whole Fullmetal
complexities.
Like, the complexities, I guess. But my opinion definitely has changed although I was still like 40 out of 60 episodes, those last 20 episodes really meant a lot. I don't understand the complexities. I'm gonna lie. I'm just gonna lie. I don't. I mean, I'm gonna tell the truth. I don't. He's kind of trash, honestly. I don't know. I can't really like. I'm trying to really like.
Like, trying so hard.
He's like, you see, he got
I can't, bro. I don't like him. I don't like Father.
All he was like visualizing the dislike count like, just jumping up by like a couple hundred. Oh,
I can't, bro. He's not that guy.
He's not that guy.
Nah, he's not that guy.
Is he Dante level or is he C?
Nah, he's not Dante level. I'd say he's below All for One, but I think Zenon is cooler. Zenon. Zenon. I don't know how to say his name. But yeah.
Finally,
Frieza, however, though, on some the next two are like
Frieza. Now,
A tier for me.
Personally, yeah, I agree. Lowest of A tier. That's
really?
where I was going to go with it.
Yeah,
wait,
not lower than Chrollo. Not lower than Chrollo. Not lower than Chrollo. He's a
wait, lowest of A tier?
Bro, listen. I'm saying that I'm okay. Listen. I'm dying on the hill that Chrollo is not a better antagonist than Frieza. I gotta say, at least in Dragon Ball.
I have Frieza in like low S.
The thing is I was thinking of that, but I have Kira and Poochie in my S, and I don't have Frieza above them two. You know.
So then, wait. Yes, okay. What am I talking about? I can't speak. Well, I have him above Kira too. Who do I have him above? I have him above Chrollo.
I would put him above Dio. Not gonna hold you.
Oh, you know what? They are
kind of. I think Frieza is kind of similar. Yeah, that Black Air Force energy.
They are built the same. Hold on, let me throw him in S tier for me real quick.
I get the same vibes from Dio or for Frieza for like Dio. Like that's
yeah. I think the thing is with Frieza and Dragon Ball in general is people forget just how well Frieza was built up. Like how well he was built up. And then he actually executed, and his execution was more horrifying than the buildup. I mean, he sucked the living pride out of Vegeta. Not many characters do that. Like he had him. What he's saying?
Vegeta gets the
flailing angrily.
Arc, so. He had Vegeta crying. He had him
he had Vegeta crying.
Did you quote the TFS line, bro?
Yeah. He was like flailing like a bitch. You know, so like Frieza. Listen, this is how dope of an antagonist Frieza is. He is a full-blown racist, and we could just push that to the side. Well, he is a villain, so like I guess that's villainous.
It
is villainous.
Yeah, we're about to talk about another questionable moral character here.
On to from the racist to the pedophile. Let me stop.
Anyways. To the EDP of the group.
To the EDP.
Nah, but Frieza was actually horrendous. Like, not horrendous. He was horrifying. And I think the way he was able to push Goku was just great. Like, a lot of people don't understand how hyped that was. And I just wish I was around at the time when that first came out, because it's like Dragon Ball has become so iconic, we just take it for granted. Like, it's kind of like when you find out Michael Jordan won 6 NBA championships. People say it so much that you kind of become numb to the fact of how difficult that is. But like, Frieza killing Krillin and pushing Goku as far as he did after making Vegeta cry. What, like, no, he was horrifying. Although, to be fair, we should include his character in Super.
Every time he put on a new form, I was like, dude, there's literally no way you guys can beat him anymore. Like, what do you like, bro? He was beating you up in his base form. He has a second and a third form. I was like, bro,
yeah,
there were power-ups just to get smoked by Frieza. Like, what?
And then to find out all of that was him with never training a day in his life.
Yep. On top of that, yeah.
So I think if we have Dio in S, Frieza should be in S. Now, let it be known that I vouched for all the 3 that are in A to low-key be in S as well, but, you know, I'm outnumbered here, so.
I mean, I think, like, it's just right below for me, like,
right.
They're all high. Everybody in A tier is high A, or, like, kind of like, well, I have Chrollo, like, low A, high
A. Right, we get it. We get it. Y'all know that
Chrollo don't even need to be in A, to be honest, but we can talk about that on a different day. Anyways, so where we put him S tier?
I have him S above Dio, because Dio's an S. So.
Oh, you have him above Dio. Okay. So what would you rank them for right now? Like, Doflamingo.
I have Doflamingo, Aizen, Frieza, Dio. I love how the foremost villainous are in S.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
He's your antagonist.
Yeah,
man. That's out of the
it is
best,
their
so
job. Yeah. No,
it's
yeah,
their
that's
job,
true.
though.
I don't think so far, other than Chrollo, and even then, Chrollo's like, no, yeah. I think every character we have so far is just raw evil. That's
Right.
from what I know.
yeah.
So yeah.
At least so far. But Hisoka, I mean, that's a debate for raw evil, but I mean,
I have him over Chrollo.
Yeah.
for sure.
I have him highest of A.
I agree.
Fair.
I think that's fair. Yeah. I was gonna say the same thing.
Listen, bro. Hisoka is such a raw villain that he could pull the bullshit he does, and we just be like, that's just how he is.
Yeah,
like, you know,
that's
it's
just
villainous,
his
you know?
Sorry, it's just Hisoka. Like,
It's just-
like
If he looked like Mineta, though, I guarantee you it would have been over for him a long time
Wait,
ago.
who?
like Hisoka, bro.
If
Hisoka
Hisoka looked like
really,
Mineta, it'd be over.
guys,
Mineta.
people really gotta stop. Like, listen. We're kind of joking around. Like, you gotta stop justifying Hisoka's actions, bro. Like, come on now. Like,
Yeah, no,
weird, bro. Like,
it's
just
the
acknowledge
evil.
he's-
It's evil.
Yeah, just acknowledge.
And
he's
with all
disgusting
the
and evil, and
people
he's a
that
good
simp
antagonist.
over him too, it's just like even more disgusting.
No, yeah,
in
no,
my
it's
eyes.
weird. So I've mentioned this fact before, never to justify him, right? But the thing is like, yes, we know he has agonophilia. As ironic as that is, agonophilia. The fact that it doesn't stop at children is kind of a problem.
Yeah.
So regardless,
Yeah,
Hisoka,
yeah.
great villain, but he's the ultimate playground sniper. Some of you will get that joke.
Oh my god.
Alright, let's move on to the next one.
Ron, you could take this one.
Okay.
Just say NA. I do not know nor care. I got to catch up to Boruto.
Ishiki is actually like kind of average for me. Like I'd have him in C. Okay. Put
Above
into perspective,
Chrollo?
right? No.
Okay.
Where above where I rank Chrollo?
Yeah.
Or like where he is actually.
Oh my
no,
god.
No, I'm asking you in your personal opinion. I just want to see. I want to see like
they're probably of relative stature, like of relative placing. I don't see much in Chrollo personally, but Ishiki, I don't see much in him either. He's just kind of like he has a somewhat unique personality, especially in comparison to like Boruto antagonist. I kind of like he's like his over polite nature when he does like these completely evil things. Like he pulls up on Naruto, right? He pulls up on the Hokage, like the strongest ninja in the verse for a while, right? He's like, oh, sorry, I forgot to take off my shoes. And I'm like, whoa, I'm sorry, did you just... And then just beats him up, throws him out of his own home, and then takes his kid. I'm like, huh? Like, listen. Like, to me, that was really... Like, he doesn't have too many of those moments. But that, like, stuff like that...
That was
like,
disrespectful.
It's just really cool.
That, yeah.
It's just disrespectful in a cool way. And I'm like, you know what?
Right.
I rank him in C tier for that. I'd probably put him like around where I have All For One, because All For One definitely has more potential. He's definitely more of that like planning character. But Ishiki, I think, has more charm to him a little bit, that I kind of personally enjoy for him as an antagonist.
Right. Okay. I'm fine with that then.
Wait, what?
C tier.
C tier.
Oh, okay.
Joker from Fire Force though. I mean, I only put him here. I don't really. I mean, I dropped Fire Force. I don't know if any of you
keep
two.
reading it. I'm at the part where Benimaru was just introduced as a character. I really love Benimaru, but I gotta
Benimaru is
keep
dope,
reading.
and that's one of the reasons why I kept pushing to season 2.
I tried to watch the Fire Force anime and then I dropped it, but not because Fire Force was bad. I just dropped it because I can't watch anime. Anime's for bums. Read manga. But nah. But from what I've seen, like I've only seen very few interactions with him. He seems cool, but like I definitely can't speak towards his character all that much because I've literally only seen like a couple.
We
of
could throw him in
interactions
NA
with
then. NA.
Yeah.
I didn't know if anyone's here. I just threw him up there.
Oh boy, this next guy.
Oh man, bro.
I'm gonna be honest.
I think this is the bum of the bums. Like Dante's a bum. Like okay,
I'm
Kisaki-
not gonna lie. Yeah, I think Kisaki was. I was kind of very weary on Kisaki since he was introduced, because he just seemed like menacing. But personally, I would walk up and kick the shit out of him.
Yeah,
Just
right.
saying. But then when I found out his motivation for it, when that was revealed, it didn't sit well with me at all. Mind you, before that, at that moment when Takemichi, finally, and I'm like, oh my god, like, ah! And then I'm like, yo, Tokyo Revengers might be like top 5 shonen that I've read recently. You know, I had it ranked really high. I was going crazy, and then Kisaki gives this character motivation, and I'm like,
Kisaki is like the only antagonist I think I've seen where like the more I learned about him, the less I liked him, and I was like, dude, this is going backward. Because honestly, at first, like, okay, so the kind of like, because at first it's not revealed to be Kisaki. It's kind of like ambiguous, like who is it? Who's doing all of this? And it's like him. It's like cool. It's like cool. You're ruining his life. Bet. Keep going. And I slowly like see more of his person. I was like, dude, like I like villainous villains, but for some reason he's just not menacing. Like, dude, you're a middle schooler.
He's
like,
not menacing, and he just pisses me off. He just pisses me off.
Right, and not in a good way either. I don't think. Like it's just you look at him and you're like, God, you are a bitch.
He just has such a punchable face. It's like, dude, like the thing is, I feel like the thing is, right? You don't have to be a super powerful antagonist to be good, but you do have to have a little bit of like controlling aura. And I feel like Takemichi could run the ones with him. Like if Takemichi was just like, I'm done, like, you know, fight me, it would have been like, I was like, I don't know, bro. He was just a very lackluster antagonist for me. And it's not just his character motivations, but like slowly but surely I just realized how much of a bum he was. And
I throw him in like D tier, honestly.
I'm not really feeling him.
I'm not feeling him either, honestly. He pisses me off. I don't like him.
And I
like
think it's because there's just so many other characters that leave a stronger impression. Like Taiju was nuts. Like if Taiju, it was Kisaki's. Oh my goodness, that would have been wild. But you know,
imagine getting rejected as a little kid, and then your whole thing is like, yeah, I'm gonna ruin their lives forever. Like, bro, get over it, God. Like, I don't know, man. That was just so corny.
And it's not like, and there's another character we're gonna talk about here later on the line that people will condense his character to that. But the difference is I'm just gonna say with Obito, there were so many other factors that before that, you know. Yeah.
We'll talk about him.
Sure. Next one's Promised Neverland. I still, bro, to this day, it's one of my favorite series of all time, but I still can't pronounce this dude's name because it's like spelt so weird. It's like Levuis. It's like some, I don't know. It's like.
Does he show up in season 2?
He doesn't.
I heard season 2
because
dope.
season 2 skips over this entire. Please never say that.
I've heard really good things about season.
No, shut up. Shut up. This is personally, I got a taste of what Berserk 2016 fans felt. Even though it was in the animation, it was them just skipping over the content completely. And the Goldie Pond arc is an arc they skipped over completely. Like, bro, I prefaced this in the last video, but my favorite character gets introduced as soon as they just they cut out everything, pretty much. Like as soon as they decide like we're gonna go from canon to like skipping like 3 arcs, he gets cut out. And what we get from like a little reminiscence of the character is like basically they go down into this shelter and they open up this door, and right when they open the door, the character that my favorite character is supposed to be right behind there, and he's eating cookies and whatnot. They get there in the anime and it's just like rotten cookies and he's not there anymore. But anyways, it was horrible. Levuis, he's pretty cool though. I definitely say he's one of the higher things about Promised Neverland that people really enjoy. I'd say it's like honestly like a C tier though.
Gotcha.
The Promised Neverland antagonists aren't really all that to be honest. It's not like the key thing about the story.
Gotcha.
I'd throw him above like or below All for One though.
Okay, dope.
But yeah, I think that's fine. Sorry, a little rant about Promised Neverland. I hate what they did to that, man. It pissed me off so bad, bro. Yeah, I don't know why they could do that. L though.
S tier for me. He's like I don't know. I feel like he's not like super necessarily menacing, but I feel like when you look at it as an antagonist, as like somebody who's meant to like kind of like really just force your main character to buckle down and to really struggle and squirm and things like that. I feel like not very many people have a better like just like one-on-one dynamic or like cat and mouse chase than L and Light. And to me, he doesn't fit necessarily the kind of the archetype of like the Aizens, the Dios, or the Freezes, but he's just
for sure.
He's just like to me the perfect antagonist in his own way, right? He perfectly complements Light. He perfectly kind of like contradicts him, kind of like is able to he has his losses, has his wins against him, and it's just a really, really
It's a
fun
great
thing to see them
dynamic
go
between the two.
go at each other.
And
yeah.
yeah, and as well as like Light is definitely an S tier protagonist. So I think it just complements so well with their dynamic between both of them. So I definitely throw him in like S tier as well. I think if I would to rank the 4 out of the 5, I'd say he's, I don't know. I think he's better than Frieza. I'd throw him above Frieza. I'd throw him in the top 3.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can do that then. Is next Mahito or Oh, it should be Madara. There we go.
Madara Uchiha, bro. One of the best. I don't care. One of the best entrances as a villain ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. Like that's my piece for now. Y'all go ahead.
My only thing to add to that is he also has probably one of the worst ways to go out ever. And I hate that so much because I almost said Aizen. Madara, if it wasn't for that incy tiny little, okay, it's not tiny. He tried to do a skateboard trick and landed on his ankle. It didn't even roll. The bone just popped upwards like that. Okay. So regardless though, I think Madara is A tier at least. But due to some unfortunate circumstances, I don't know if I'm comfortable because it's weird for me because I personally have Kira and Pucci higher than Dio, but I also have Madara above Dio, but not above Kira. So you get what I mean? It's weird for like my ranking.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I actually saw this. Twitter was actually useful to me for once, right? So I was seeing this thread. Now, this isn't justified. Like, if you feel like betrayed or whatever at like Madara's ending, I can't like rewrite that by any means. But I feel like I gained a new appreciation for his ending. So like everybody knows, so like Madara was like stabbed in the back by Hashirama, right? His best friend, closest ally, someone he trusted a lot, right? And then like when he's reanimated, his Susanoo has obviously front facing, then has another him that's always watching his back, right? Pretty cool detail. It's like kind of meant to symbolize the fact that he can't trust anybody but himself, blah blah blah. And he makes the mistake again of once he obtains his like godlike power, trusting Zetsu, and once again, as soon as he lets somebody into his heart and trusts them, he gets stabbed in the back. And like it doesn't just necessarily justify Kaguya just being sprung out of that, right? That's a whole different can of worms. But I do kind of gain a little bit more appreciation for that when I look at kind of like how his death paralleled the one previously, and it was almost, I don't know if you want to say foreshadowed in a way. In any case, Madara has a lot to me that makes him S tier, but high A, low S, whatever is fine with me. Like I don't really have
I don't really have much to say.
I think it's cool pointing that out because even as a kid, he can't pee when someone's behind him.
Yep, exactly.
So like I said at least A. So if both of y'all want to throw it, so my vote is highest of A. Ronin, what do you have?
I say S personally, but
okay.
I don't bat an eye at like
okay.
A.
So then it's up to Augie then.
Like I said, I don't really have much to say on him because one of his entrance is like you said, one of the greatest entrances, especially for a villain or an antagonist. But the way he went out, just like very, like you said, he went in with a bang, but he also probably got banged out. I don't know. That's a bad way to interpret it, but like
he also has a really good philosophy as a character, I will say.
He does.
And it's not just a great entrance. Like he follows through, like pretty strong.
For sure. His speech to Obito is also one of the coolest things ever. Like the reality speech that he gives to Obito, I was just listening to it the other day, and I was like, wow, I'm pretty good. Like Madara's a pretty, like I can only imagine like being a Naruto fan back then when Madara just pops out. Dude, that must have been such a crazy experience if I'm gonna be honest, because that was like, it was just so crazy to see him just keep being better and better and better. It was just wild. Madara is great to me.
Right.
So I don't know if we want to put him in S or A, but yeah.
I'm gonna go highest of A.
All right,
personally.
that's fine.
I think part of it, now thinking about it, is like the amount of praise Naruto must have been getting at the time when Madara's character was popping out the cut, and you had Swag making videos and all that, and then like the ending of Naruto happens, And then I guess that was just like a green light for everyone who was like low-key already hating on Naruto to just go full crazy with it. And I feel like the same thing happened with Attack on Titan, you know? It was like, finally! We can, so.
They're like a real criticism. And then they just start going at it.
Right.
I will say for this next one being Mahito, I think unlike Kisaki, he's like, he pisses me off, but he does it in a pretty like really good way. Especially for being a new jump antagonist, I think compared to everybody else, I think he's the best in Jujutsu Kaisen specifically. I don't know how Ronin, how do you feel about that, Ronin?
I've been waiting for this. Okay, listen. Mahito. Okay, I'm gonna say this, right? I get what you're going. Like, he definitely does have that kind of like aggravating, like, dude, stop! Like, stop hurting my favorite characters, please. What are you doing, right? But you know, unlike Kisaki, I don't know. There's something about it because I feel like Mahito has this like menacing aura to him, like. It's unpredictability, and he can actually act on the things he does. Like, Kisaki gets washed up, right? When he like actually gets in any conflict. Mahito's really about it, right? And
so Nanami.
I'm gonna say this now.
Let him get up.
I'm kind of like a Jujutsu Kaisen fanboy, if you will. Some may say I really like Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't know. I don't know how they get that idea, but I gotta say, Mahito, I feel, I've said this a couple of times before, stands in the same tier as characters like Meruem, as characters like Aizen, as characters like Pain for me personally. So I put him in S. I think he's the best Jujutsu Kaisen antagonist and one of the best characters in the series, period. And I want to see how you guys think about that.
I think I mean, I agree with that statement for the most part. I just enjoy the others, like Pain, Meruem, those characters a lot more than Mahito. But I definitely think he's by far the best written as of right now in Jujutsu Kaisen. I'd throw him in like the top 3 S tier characters. Man, I don't know if I want to throw him in S tier.
No. I have him.
God.
I have him in at least A tier. There's no going
that's what I was gonna say, just A, but I have him like below Kira in A, but you know.
Right.
Mind you, take that with a grain of salt because I'm like a good 30-40 chapters behind, I think. I don't know how many no.
I mean, Mahito's character ends roughly around the I want to say 30?
It's like 132.
Right,
Yeah. So you may, I don't know if you saw the conclusion.
No, I haven't.
His impact, listen, I think his impact on Yuji, like, it's kind of like, I feel like it's a different dynamic for sure, but I feel like I feel similarly to what I do with like Light and L. Like, he has one of the best character dynamics with the protagonist that I've personally seen. Like the way he kind of sort of wins like against Yuji in the sort of like ideological sense.
Right.
Where
it leaves a big impact on him too. Like, yeah. Like how he views things and shit.
Yeah, it's great to see like that long lasting impact, like even after the villain is quote unquote like defeated or whatever. Just seeing them like that, kind of like how the scar on Yuji's face that Mahito gave him is like a permanent memory of just like everything that Mahito represented, and it's always gonna stick with them, at least for the time being. I really like that.
Yeah, I think we can throw him in A then. That's fine. I'd have him above. For me, I'd have him below Madara, but I'd have him above Kira, honestly. If I'm being honest.
Alright, that's cool.
Alright, that's good. Okay. Boo. And I didn't add any of the other Boos, but we can just go off like Boo as a character in general, even though that's kind of really hard, but
Boo is okay.
Yeah, Boo's okay. He's definitely, you know, if we have Cell, Frieza up above, I think Boo goes in like C tier, if I'm being honest.
I think lowest of B for me.
Close to B.
Because I literally don't know. I don't know any of the antagonists in C other than All for One. That's the only one I know in C.
Gotcha.
And so again, Boo's a character who, you know, he had shit basically in comparison to All for One.
Right.
So
right.
I think lowest of B. Because he was just kind of a menace, you know. Although I do think he lacks a lot of the personality I think Frieza and Cell brought along. Along with just the overall build-up, and I think the Boo arc might leave a little bit to be desired. But yeah, I think lowest of B for Boo.
So,
Except
what do you
the
think?
dog
Nolan?
trainer.
I would, I think that's fine, honestly.
Yeah, that's
I don't-
cool. I don't see much to like. Boo's cool. I think he's suitable as an antagonist. He doesn't really do much for me. The Boo arc is more carried by like I feel like Goku, Vegeta, Gohan. Like it's more carried by its protagonist definitely, whereas the other arcs are definitely more of a balance. I feel like Boo is just kind of like okay. I don't see.
Because then you also have Majin Vegeta, you know, who I think really takes the shine for like that temporary antagonist role. So.
Yeah, he just gets outshined by pretty much every other character. We can move on though. So Makima, S tier waifu. I mean, sorry, S tier. I'm just kidding.
Just say you bark and you like getting pegged.
I don't bark. Listen, I don't bark.
I heard a rumble in the back of my throat,
Listen. She's an amazing antagonist, and she is good looking in my eyes. And I, she has great proportions, as we know.
Oh my God, Mass, pull up the car.
She looks like a cardboard.
You unplugged your mic. She looks like a cardboard box.
Yeah, cardboard box cutout. Like she's been cut out of a cardboard box. That's what it looks like when she's drawn in the manga. Anyways,
until the anime, she's gonna be carried by fan art.
Bro, if in the anime she looks good, I will forever be fighting a war that I'm losing.
She is gonna be looking good. She is gonna be.
You're gonna be fighting demons, bro. We're gonna be fighting demons.
I'm gonna be by myself.
But listen, I'm gonna say this. There's a certain tier I can hold up to, and after that, I'm honestly gonna have to put my hands up and just.
All right, bro. Anyways, I think antagonist-wise, I think she is an A tier antagonist.
I think she's below in terms of the new gen stuff. I think she's below Mahito and Shigaraki.
I kind of agree.
But
I'm fine. I
feel like
I
feel like they're all like those three specifically are all in the same realm, in my opinion.
Yeah.
At least
I
right
have her
now.
above Chrollo. I don't know if I think I have her above Kira too, to be honest. But I don't really care about Kira all that much.
I don't either. I mean, I don't see the appeal of Kira, honestly.
He's just an ordinary guy that likes hands. Yes, sir. No, I'm joking. But Makima's alright, I guess.
Just like Mass, just with feet. So, alright. I'm down to throw right below Mahito though.
Cool.
Meruem,
I think that's an easy S. Psych.
Yeah. I have him above. I have him third. Below. No, lie. I have him above Aizen.
Yeah, I think he carries the Chimera Anarch, to be honest. Especially like second half. The Chimera Anarch as a whole is just like, I think it's overrated personally. I think the first half is kind of like really slow. But Meruem as a character is great. I think he can go. You want to just all agree to S?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
I think he's middle, at least middle to high S, because I definitely have him.
I don't have him above. I don't have him above Dio.
Not Dio, not L. Yeah, he can go above Frieza though. Yeah. Who's this guy? Am I forgetting something? Like
that's
the Millennium Earl from The Gray Man. That is an S. Take my word for it. I promise you.
The Gray Man. Is it a finished series or is this another hiatus?
Yes.
Oh, what is it?
I actually was informed in the last video we did, because we talked about Alan Walker. I heard that it's not on hiatus and it just comes out like every 4 months, which is basically hiatus, but that's the schedule.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's coming back. Yeah. 20 pages per.
Is it this? I just like the main antagonist of D Gray Man. This is the main antagonist, or is that a spoiler if I ask you more?
Don't ask me more. Yeah,
okay, don't ask me more. Okay.
But he's Millennium Earl is S. I think Millennium Earl and Alan Walker have a great dynamic. So I have Alan Walker in S. I have the Millennium Earl in S, and I'd have the Millennium Earl above Dio and Frieza.
Looks like a D tier, but
I'll take your word for that. Honestly,
trust you.
I'll trust you.
But I'll trust you. Miyata, Hajime no Ippo. The reason he's here is because like he's definitely much more of a long-running antagonist than most other characters. There's definitely other people you could say would be there, but I feel like considering he's like the long-running goal for Ippo, I feel like it's appropriate he's here, and I have him at probably highest of B for me personally.
Okay.
Yeah, just because like I like his character. He's kind of if you know me, you know I kind of like have like a type of character that I enjoy, that kind of like quiet, not necessarily edgy, but like the type of character you usually associate with that edgy character. But I also feel like he's a great motivation for Ippo in the sense that they're rivals, but much more in a sense of like kind of how Vegeta and Goku were before Vegeta was kind of like neutered or whatever, became more friendly, however you want to put it, right? Like just the more like they're friends at first, kind of. Ippo goes into the boxing gym. He actually, you know, whatever, they fight. Miyata's like, all right, I gotta get better, so he just leaves, and he's like, all right, now we're just gonna be racing to the top, right? And that's kind of Ippo's goal for like hundreds of chapters.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna have to see where you put. That's why I asked you for an Ippo character, even though me and Mast haven't got that far, because I want to see where Oikawa ranks on that. Yeah. Because I want to see the difference between these two, because I don't know if you still like. Well, we'll get into that. Anyways, Muzan, me personally, from the anime as well as like some of the manga, like there's not really much I can talk about him for, to be honest. But he's kind of a bum.
Mass, you want to go first?
I've said enough about Demon Slayer. Like, it doesn't matter how positive I am about it. As soon as I get to talking about Muzan, I don't want to hear. Y'all know what I think about Muzan. Just lob him in D. I have no need to.
Yeah.
But look, all right.
Kind of just blah.
Muzan, I think the thing is when you have a comparison like a character like Akaza, right? And then Muzan's the character that's built up for so long. And then he's just a bit of a dud at the end. Even with how long the final fight was, it's so, if I want to use for it, but I feel like there's a part of it that felt like that I don't know, man. I really don't know how else I can explain how I feel about it. I just found Muzan to be really disappointing. I think just disappointing is the word. You know, I was expecting him to be a lot more menacing as he was portrayed to be. And then the way he just came out, it was like, if you had to come up with probably one of the most least inspired final antagonists for like just a random MMORPG video game, Muzan would be the thing that comes out of its asshole. Like that's what Muzan is for me.
Here's the way I look at him, right? So he's not like a particularly horrible villain. He's like, I guess when you try to look at it objectively, whatever you think that means, I don't really think it exists, but like when you try to like remove whatever
critically, I guess
would be the better word. Just like he's fine, I guess. But like here's the thing, right? Here's the reason I feel like when you actually incorporate context, he just kind of falls flat as a villain, right? So you have him built up from the beginning of the series. He's literally caused Tanjiro's family to die, right? He caused Nezuko to become a demon, caused Tanjiro to become a demon slayer, blah, blah, blah. We all know the plot of Demon Slayer, at least for season 1. Then we just, in the final arc, right, we get introduced to Doma, Akaza, Kokushibo, all characters that I think as villains are really well done, right? Especially in terms of like Demon Slayer character standards, they're really good. Back to back to back, right? 3, 2, 1. There was literally the ranking of the upper moons, right? We go from that. We go from all these cool character dynamics, all these cool backstories to Muzan, right? And Muzan's like the big bad. Like imagine if we looked at Naruto and we were like, okay, imagine going from, I don't know, from Madara to Pain, and then you get like, I don't know who, like the sound ninja. Like imagine you get the sound ninja.
Yeah.
You know how disappointing you know how disappointing it would be. Like it's just so like lackluster. And I mean, I feel like we made ourselves clear here. Even if Muzan had this like super deep layer to him that we couldn't possibly comprehend because of its great writing, and he was just like evil to be evil, we've already shown that we can put characters that are evil to be evil up here, right? It's not really about that. He's not charismatic in any way. His build-up falls really, really, really flat. And I just feel like when you compare him to the other antagonists that are meant to be his underlings and meant to be showed up by him, he's just disappointing. Like it's just the best word to put it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because I've gotten that. It's like, oh, you can't appreciate a character that's evil to be evil. Motherfucker, I have Frieza in S.
I mean, look at the S characters right now for the majority. I mean,
yeah, only what, L? Maybe Meruem, because Meruem kind of, you could argue, develops. Yeah, changes. The rest of them are kind of just raw. Like they rock Black Air Forces.
You can obviously attribute philosophical depth to them, but like Dio or like listen, Dio, like you couldn't ask me any other reason that I think Dio was S tier besides the fact that he's just like, if I were to look up villain, Dio should definitely pop up.
Yeah, he's
like,
the epitome of a villain. Like he
that's
is
it.
the villain.
There's no deeper reason. It's just he's evil and he's charismatic while he's evil, right? Muzan just doesn't have that. So I feel like I think I honestly have him above Dante, but he's still D tier.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You know, it is what it is. Mass Man. Talk about Mass Man.
I think Obito is at least above Makima in A tier. At least. I think he's no.
I have
he's
him
great.
above Mahito. I don't know where Makima is for you. Do you have Makima on
Makima's
your...
below Mahito. I have her
And
below Mahito.
Okay.
And I would actually put Obito like maybe right below Kira personally. He's definitely not above Madara for me. Actually. Okay, I'm not going to do that.
I feel like if I reread Naruto, I might like Obito more.
Maybe. I think Obito, people forget just how much of a death grip he had over the entire series. It's not like Kisaki where there's a bunch of other goons. Well, don't get me wrong, like there are, but even then, Obito is like, he's a character who's built up from the beginning subtly, and then his whole Toby personality, which it's funny because people are like, oh, I like Toby more than Obito. It's the same fucking character. Like, you do realize that. Like, he's just, that's his whole thing, is playing a character, a disguise, like the masked man, whatever. Anyways.
If y'all want identity crises, look, crises.
Right. So then with Obito, then you continue onwards, and I think he goes on to have one of the strongest, I think, philosophies as a character. Because Ulquiorra gets a ton of praise for his, I guess you could say, embodiment of nihilism and emptiness, when Obito's pretty much the same theme, just with a little more, I think, humanity to him, because Obito's an actual human being. But Obito then goes on to have an amazing backstory, which people misanalyze all the time. Like, again, it's about to be 2022. If you like verbatim say he only started the war over Rin, I'm gonna need you to stop breathing because you're wasting the oxygen that we need. So
listen, it's just like like Naruto is the only series
perfect
where a character
foil.
can
Obito,
outright state, this is not my motivation, and people will still say it's his motivation. Like, y'all realize you're just literally arguing with like the character, just like, dude, listen, Rin was a part, but if you think that Rin is the only or main reason I started this war, you are literally incorrect. Like,
yeah, I don't like saying this, but it's actually like objectively incorrect because it's stated in the series. It's not like an interpretation.
Right.
Like, that is verbatim, word for word, what Obito says. And then he proceeds to have an amazing fight with Kakashi, by the way. Like, our top fight in the series. He's I would say he's the ultimate foil to Naruto as a character, even more than Gaara was or Pain was. And then on top of all of that, when he gets the 10 tails, Jubi Obito was raw. And then at the end, the only reason Talk no Jutsu works with Obito, even though some of the dialogue choice could have been a little better, I think the point of it still stands, that Naruto was the only character that could have reached out to Obito. Because I saw a tweet one time saying, like, oh, Naruto just talked someone out of mass genocide. Let's not act like Obito didn't get his shit kicked in for the thing, right?
Obito's whole thing was like, the reason he needed to create an alternate reality is because it wouldn't be possible for someone who went through the things he did to not despair, right? That was his whole thing.
Right. We saw this world as hell.
Naruto was literally just like, but I can, though. And Obito was like, well, damn, my ideology is built upon a lie. Like, why would he continue to... Like, Naruto is the objective proof that Obito was incorrect in his thinking, right? That was it. It was just, like... It would almost be like, imagine if you get on somebody for being like, oh, you changed your mind when showed facts and evidence? How dare you? Like, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
yeah, that's why he was so adamant on breaking Naruto, because if he was like, I can break him, I'm right, so I think Obito, with all that being said, because it's ridiculous, I think we have to defend this character this much, but it is what it is. With all that being said, I think he's the second highest in A then. Screw it.
Yeah, I think it's just generally one of the biggest misconceptions in the series. or just in anime and manga in general, honestly.
Plus, can we talk about the badass quotes he has? Like, I see now I'm in hell, and then the one where he's like, "Oh, it's just rain. They couldn't make me sweat."
Couldn't make me sweat. I was like, relax, don't relax, calm down. Like, you can't be talking to our transformed main characters like that. Like, bro, Naruto just got a new transformation. What do you mean? Like, bro, let the plot armor kick in.
Right.
But yeah, nah, he was dope.
All right, this is the one I wanted to know. I think Oikawa, off rip, is an S tier. I want to know what you think though. Before I
S tier. Interesting.
I don't know, he's kind of a bum, bro. Like, I'm not.
Oh, hold on. I was about to.
I'm kidding.
Listen.
I only saw season 1.
The way I look at him like A tier. What do I have him above? Chrollo, Kira.
I think we have to
Soka.
also look at like the series itself. Like when we compare, like he's the only. I wouldn't say. Yeah, he's pretty much the only reoccurring antagonist, especially all the way up to the end.
I say he's like I think I have him like middle of A. I probably have him above Makima too, but to me he's not above Obito, Mahito, or Madara. It's weird because I don't know. Oikawa was really good. Obviously, I wouldn't have him like top 4 A tier characters if I didn't think he was good. But I just feel like in comparison to some of the characters that are more, even though he's really impactful, he really equates to like 2 games and some change worth of being the main antagonist, right? He defeats Hinata and Kageyama and the rest of Karasuno the first time and then loses the second time, right? Obviously, he comes back. But when he comes back, he's much less of the main force, and it's more about
actually.
Kind of like
I think you're right. Now that I think
characters.
about it, now like a lot of it's coming back to me, and this is the reason why I didn't have characters like, say like Vegeta on here, because Vegeta is not always the antagonist of the series. He's only in it for pretty much like very little time. But there's a lot of stuff with Oikawa in the background that I think holds a lot of weight to his character. Especially when he's like either watching a match or like talking on the side, like from afar or something. But yeah, you're right. Honestly, from his match experience, it's only like a few matches as well as the very end. But then it doesn't really matter. But he is the long-running antagonist of the series, and I think overall his personality and the way he holds to like some characters and just overall.
Don't get it wrong though. To be in the amount of screen time he has in the A tier is very impressive to me. Like.
Right.
If he was like this, like overarching, like he's the guy, right? He'd probably be S tier pretty easily, assuming the
You're not that guy,
right.
But that's hard to do. Yeah, that's really hard to do in a sports series when you need to like actually go against other teams to prove that you're the best, and that just doesn't happen in a sports series. So I'm down to throw it A tier then. I'd throw him above Mahito and Makima. There we go. That's good. Is it Priscilla or no? It's Pain. I don't have these mixed up. There we go.
I have him top of S.
I have him for me.
I think out of every antagonist that I've read,
yeah, I agree.
I go just off my memory because I could be forgetting some if I think it through. Oh no, there's Funny Valentine. Even then, I'd probably go like all time, everything. Johan Griffith and Pain is in that mix for third. Like, Pain is so good because there's another character we're going to get on later on in the line, Ukiura, who I love because I love characters that are, in a way, like these over-exaggerated embodiments of what their theme is. Like, his whole thing, cycle of hatred, inflicting pain upon others, and his name is Pain, and this world shall know pain. Like, he gets the message across really well, you know? Yeah. But in not a way that comes off as obnoxious. And then he gives off, I think, without a doubt, one of the most iconic and best speeches in all of anime. I mean, the man who killed Jiraiya, he's led up to, and what he was able to do to Naruto as a character, to push him to that point, is insane. And people, sometimes have an issue with the way the character ended off, again, with Talk no Jutsu, blah, blah, blah. I think they completely miss, like, the whole Child of Prophecy theme with it, though. And the Nagato, because Nagato Pain, same guy. Realizing, like, I'm not the main character of the story, which I really loved how that was shown through, like, the story Jiraiya was writing and the name of the main character being not, like, I love shit like that, So with all that being said, with everything being said, and how jealous I am of wishing to have his voice, I think Pain is top of S.
I'm down.
Yeah, fair.
Priscilla. I mean, Mass. You said you can't really talk about.
I'm gonna be honest. I might be shown as a fraud. I don't really remember her.
Claymore, because Priscilla, she's
like okay, she's like important. Like okay, whatever. She's a big bad. But like okay, if I'm trying to recall like any notable moments, any whatever, which is fine. I've only read it once, but like there's not a scene that sticks out in my mind as like anything. Like
I think
yeah.
D, honestly, bro. Like, I'm not to cut you off, but like it's like
I feel you.
if I was willing to get on Muzan for being lackluster, as much as I love Claymore as an overall story, it's not because of Priscilla. It is.
Antagonist, I don't feel like are what it really shoots for. And Priscilla, I feel like is a pretty big example of that. Like, I'm gonna be honest. There's probably some deeper themes you can find in her, whatever. That's fine. But like, I just don't see it, and I also feel like she's just very lackluster in terms of her presence. Like, me, a lot like the antagonists of Claymore were more like these giant monsters that were just meant to be like literal walls of power that were difficult to overcome. Like, I didn't get a sense of like personality really emanating from them or exuding from them in any way. I don't know if Mass feels different, but like, there's not a single antagonist in Claymore that I care about or I would like find notable in any way for the series.
It's the protagonist's journey.
Yeah,
honestly,
it's literally just the protagonist and their band of characters.
Do you think if I haven't read Claymore, but do you think if like Claire had like the Guts and Griffith dynamic, then like it'd be on par with Berserk, or
hell no? Because then the thing is what's difficult about that is I don't think Claire in and of herself is nearly as good of a character as Guts is, and I also don't think. Then that would also imply the major what if that then they could write a character with the exact same dynamic. And at that point, people would. I mean, people already call it female Berserk. Would just so it would so it would just be like even more just female Berserk, and I think it would lack a little bit of the originality that it has.
I feel like if it had a character that could rival and not necessarily have the same dynamic as in like they represent the same things. Personally, I could see that, but like then again, I'm not someone who like really. First of all, I haven't like completed Berserk. I only finished like end of like kind of golden age, whatever, right? So keep that in mind. But I don't know. I don't have Claire really much lower than I would have Guts as a protagonist personally. But I don't know. It's just the antagonists are so far removed from like Griffith or from really any really great character writing, in my opinion, that it's kind of hard to imagine. And honestly, I'd say D tier, not because she's disappointing. Like, Muzan's disappointing, right? But Priscilla is just, like, I never had expectations, and she didn't live up to them. So, I mean, I guess that's fine.
Just there.
Right.
Yeah, she literally just exists.
Okay. So, moving on, though, I think Reiner is an easy S. I mean, I don't know if any of y'all disagree, but the betrayal, everything with that, like his build-up, one of the, like I said, biggest betrayals in all of anime, to be honest with you. I mean, that scene with Reiner, Bertolt, and Eren, like that to me is my personal favorite anime scene. I might get a lot of takes for that, but I don't know. Personally, I see him as an S tier antagonist all the way up until the end, pretty much.
Yeah. What do you think, Mass? You agree?
I'm fine with S. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay, that's cool then. Shigaraki.
I'm gonna just give mine right now. Yeah, I have Shigaraki in A. I would have him personally above Mahito, but I just have him in A. And y'all could continue without me for these next few because like I can't really speak on the next guy. I could speak on Sukuna, and then I can't speak on the guy after him. I just really have to pee. If not, I'm gonna explode.
No, you go ahead. I was gonna say earlier though, I have when it comes to the new Jump antagonist, I have it goes Shigaraki, Mahito, Makima for me. I don't know if that's
so Shigaraki above Mahito.
Yeah, but it's really close though. All three of them are pretty close.
My thing is, it's just Mahito above Shigaraki, then Shigaraki above Makima. So I think we only have those flipped. But they're both in A tier. They're both close, so it's fine.
Yeah, I'm down for that then. Shishio from Rurouni Kenshin though. I have him just for you.
S tier. Easy for me. Like, like literally the entire arc is just like him and Kenshin going at it, as you'd expect with like a kind of arc. I feel like he's not talked about as much because Kenshin just isn't talked about as much. But like I feel like a majority of people that read it will look at him to be in that same like you see him is in like you would see him a lot in like the Pain, the Meruem, the Aizen, that type of stuff. I feel like if you saw more Rurouni Kenshin readers.
That's what I was gonna say. Every time I see a Rurouni Kenshin reader, they always, or like watch a reader, whatever. There's not that many of them, at least nowadays. But anytime it does get brought up into the discussion, like people that have completed the series, they always say like the antagonist Shishio as well as Kenshin are like S tier for sure. So
yeah, that tends to be the general idea. Like Kenshin's really good, like great protagonist. And Shishio, I think,
got a raw design too. I really like his design.
Yeah, I feel like he has a lot of he has that cool factor, right? He's cool. His backstory is insane. His like kind of like philosophy, ideology, the depth, if you want to say, I think is can like go toe to toe with a lot of the other characters up here. And I feel like in terms of pure evil, he's up like to me. Really, any way you would want to evaluate him as a character, like with the charisma, anything. He's top notch, and I'd personally have him like out of all these characters, like he's definitely one of the top of S for me.
Okay. So Mass, we threw Shigaraki in A, and we threw Shishio, the next one, in S. In S tier.
S?
Rurouni Kenshin. Yeah, Shishio.
Oh, he's Rurouni Kenshin. Okay, I haven't seen it, so.
Okay. Oh man, I forgot about Sukuna. Where would you? So that actually changes things. I personally, I just don't. I think he's another one of those characters that we just haven't got enough from him yet. Even though like, he's not like an all for one for me, but like he has the same vibe. Like I feel like there's still more to him for sure.
I think, but I think he's been a little more present personally, especially in terms of like. Because he's inside of because he's inside of the protagonist, you know, he has a lot more, I think, direct and outstanding moments than an All for One does. So up to the point from which I'm at in the story, I'm perfectly fine at least lobbing him in B. Yeah. I wouldn't put him above Cell or Akaza just off of the fact that like I think there's so much more. But I definitely think he's higher than C because I think he does.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because C is just neutral, you know. So
I was thinking like in that low B range.
Yeah.
I'm pretty similar. Sukuna is definitely like a like he's just right now he's just cool. Like he's just raw. Like he just like literally. I mean, every time he shows up, I kind of like, damn, bro, which one of my favorite characters is gonna die today, right? Or like, what's gonna happen now? But I feel like in terms of like that backstory, which isn't necessary for all characters, but there's something for him missing. Like, what I almost want, and this would be insane. Like, I'd go crazy, right? If we get like a kind of like Star Plasma Vessel arc or like the Gojo flashback, but for Sukuna, bro. Listen, I'm losing my mind.
It doesn't even need to be. Yeah,
it doesn't even need to be that long.
Yeah,
but I think something like. Even like a couple, like 3, 4, 5 chapters of like his backstory, who he is.
Honestly, I see that genuinely happening for sure.
Yeah, it would go crazy. To me, I have him like mid B.
Yeah,
just off of like cool factor and stuff like that, and I'm just really excited to see more from him. So can't be too high, but I definitely do think he kind of speaks for himself.
Okay then, we'll have him there then. Toguro, I mean, I'm not far enough to say anything. I'm only like after the Dark Tournament. I know Mass dropped it. I don't know where you're at. Did you?
Okay. I finished Yu Yu Hakusho.
Okay.
Girl. Okay. Let me say this real quick.
He's not the main antagonist, is he not? There's another one?
He's not. There's kind of like Sensui is kind of like the final one. Listen, I'm gonna say this. Higashi's best antagonists were not in Hunter x Hunter, if I may. Toguro is I probably place him low S tier because I do need a reread for him.
Okay.
But in terms of like impact on the main character, me personally, just how like menacing he is in this sort of like aura of like danger. He has this one line where he's speaking to Yusuke and he's like, you don't know how much danger you're in right now, and then proceeds to
Is
I
that
mean, I
when they're
can-
in the? Was that one
That's the dark
before the dark?
tournament.
Oh right, yeah. Okay.
No, that's during the dark tournament.
during
They're going
the dark
at
tournament.
it. Toguro goes like beyond 100%, whatever, right? I don't know if it's beyond or just when he goes 100, whatever, right? But he's like, Yusuke still being all like, you know, kind of like not arrogant per se, but he's still being loud. He's still being like a delinquent. And then Togoro's like, yeah, you don't know how much danger you're in right now. And I was like, oh, he's different.
That's hard, yeah.
he's
Yeah, he's
different. Like
different.
he's not like the others. And he's really good. And I feel like even he's not as good as someone like Sensui, which I would just say, even though he's not up here, I'd put him IS. He's probably Togashi's S antagonist in my opinion. But Toguro is definitely like the lowest of like lower of S, and that's only because I feel like I haven't reread Yu Hakusho in a while, and I've only seen it once, so I feel like I may be missing some not context, but like kind of like the impact of the characters and things like that.
Of course. Okay. Ukiura.
Okay, this one's gonna get me in trouble. I like Ulquiorra more than Aizen, but I'm not gonna say he's better than Aizen just because I think Aizen.
I would agree.
I think
That's what I was
Aizen
gonna say.
covers so much, but I do think he's right there with him. So like, if Ulquiorra is an S, I think he should be side by side because I have him like right below Aizen. But that's only because Aizen comes back later on in Bleach, and he's such a menace still. Ulquiorra, I think. Oh man, that's tough because I can't. How do I put this? I think
Honestly, I should have threw Grimjow in here as well.
I'm gonna be honest. I think Grimjaw's a little overrated sometimes because I think he's good, but I wouldn't put him in the same tier as Aizen or Ulquiorra. I don't think.
Right, his reappearance in Bleach in the Thousand Year Blood War arc wasn't as good as his entrance, nor as like has that whole.
But even then, I think
arc,
Ulquiorra had a much better entrance, and so did
I
Aizen.
agree.
So but the thing is why I'm struggling with this is because I think Aizen has so much more narrative weight considering like he kind of created Bleach. But Ulquiorra, man, it's like lightning in a bottle, I think, with Ulquiorra, you know? Like it's so great. Everything, man. So so
I'm gonna offer a hot take here.
I'd say go ahead.
His parallel with Ichigo, to me, is better than Gon and Meruem's. Personally, I find because one thing I see a lot is like people will always praise like, oh, the parallels between Gon and Meruem are so great.
What makes you say that?
So I'll explain why, right? So like
ahead.
Meruem's whole thing is like he turns more human, Gon turns more monster, right? Well, let's look at Ichigo and Ukiyora's, right? Ukiyora's whole thing is he's the epitome of hollow, right? In both his literal species and in his actual, he has a hole in his chest.
Okay.
That's meant to represent his heartlessness. That's meant to represent the lack of emotion. The kind of like Matt said, the nihilism. Like he doesn't believe in the heart or doesn't understand it, right? After he captures Orihime and takes her, after he kind of gains Orihime, which is in this arc per se is Ichigo's heart, right? Let's just say that's symbolic of his heart, right? With the removal of Ichigo's heart, we see that as the fight goes on, Ichigo becomes more and more hollow. He's able to use his mask for longer periods of time. His mask design changes, which is an indication of the holification within him strengthening, right? We see that over and over. Like, there's even this dialogue with Grimjow where he's like, I don't know if it's Grimjow or Ukiura. I might be slipping my mind, but he's just like, Ichigo, he's like, you're here to fight, right? You're not here to save her. This is just an excuse, right? You're here to fight and you're here to test your skills, right? Kind of like how Grimjow is like this kind of like overly aggressive, hollow, whatever, right? And we see that Ichigo becomes more and more hollow to the point where obviously losing to Ukiura trying to show that like the heart doesn't exist in humanity. The only reason Ichigo comes back is when his heart, being Orihime, calls out to him, right? And he kind of completely delves into that hollowness, right? Completely dives into what Ukiura once was. And it's represented by having the hole in his chest, right? By lacking his heart, or he may kind of taken away from him temporarily in this instance. Like, he's literally dead. He's as far removed from her as he could possibly be. And Ukiura is kind of like much more human. He doesn't necessarily save, but well, he does actually. He saves Uryu, right? From Ichigo after Ichigo kind of like stomps Ukiura out, hits Uryu, whatever. And we see that Ukiura only finally dies when he kind of understands what human emotion is, and I really like that dynamic more. I feel like it's touched upon in a much better way than Gone and Merriam's is, because like I understand Gone and Merriam's, I like it, but I just feel like it's so. I feel like it's really basic. Not like the parallel itself is a good technique in writing, but I feel like what it says is kind of just basic to me. I don't see a lot of like depth. I don't see a lot to dig into with that. Whereas with Ichigo's holification, and you can kind of use Orihime as being this heart and all these other things that I kind of mentioned, I feel like it just has a lot more to dig into narratively, which I personally enjoy, than Gon and Merriam. That's why I say as like they're parallel, they're dynamic. Ukiura and Ichigo is an example I would use as a great antagonist protag dynamic before I would use Gon and Merriam's.
Right. I think the Orihime factor kind of falls around like the Komugi factor with it, but I think that makes sense. I personally enjoy...
I think a lot of people will agree with, but I do feel like that's just why I believe like
Ukiura and Ichigo do have a great. I think Bleach is just a series that it's ironic to me because people like to take sometimes something out of nothing. But yeah, nuance, when Bleach is arguably, I think, the most nuanced in terms of like writing style. Is like he doesn't, which is interesting because
I would say it's almost too nuanced. Like not to the point where his demographic is like, I don't know. I don't know.
But Bleach is one of those series that I think a lot of people are like, oh, like it has 9-year-old writing, but yet you miss all of the nuance. I don't think the 9-year-old is the writer in this scenario. Okay, just saying. But I just find it a little interesting in that sense. Yeah, because like in the fights, he likes to spell things out, you know, because they're very abstract abilities. It keeps the fight going. But the actual themes of the characters and stuff, and the way things are built up, and oh my goodness, it's just like I don't get it.
Better, but I feel like just to give you an example of like how much there's like college theses. How do you say theses on maybe like the religious symbolism in the series, right? Which once again doesn't inherently make it better. But just to give you like an idea of like how much Kubo put into his manga for like a literal thesis paper to be able to be written on it, I find that really impressive, personally.
No, yeah, but the reason why I bring it up is because so many people do all these amazing analysis with Naruto, One Piece, My Hero, and then it just feels like when it comes to Bleach, everyone just like throws their brain out, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
Anyways.
So where did we want to throw him in? S tier? I just want to order it real quick. Like 5th?
I have him 5th on mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good
fine,
then.
Yeah.
All right. Yami Merrick. I think this is either low S tier or a high A. Just because I feel like he gives me that Dio factor where he's just pretty much the epitome of evil in this series. I mean, he's been backstabbed a lot, and he also pretty much like... I mean, I don't know if any of you have seen Yu-Gi-Oh! Or read the manga. It's a lot more darker in the manga, and I've watched the anime, but I just know that he's been through it all, pretty much. He's been through it all, and like I wouldn't say like the main cast kind of like like they kind of like undershadow it, but like when you get to see his like how I don't want to spoil, but if you get to see how his like dad pretty much Yami Yugi is within his within the main character, kind of like Sukuna and Yuji.
Gotcha.
And he pretty much embodies his father, and he's pretty much just out for revenge, and the cast just sees him as this like pretty much evil. I wouldn't say like it's so hard to explain this character without spoil. I just don't want to spoil because it's such a great series, and you know I think he's the low S, but
I mean, you got it. We already agreed. If you got if you're the only one, rank him.
All right, that's fair then. Okay. Bro, I will never know how to pronounce his name right. Everybody says it's Yuha Bach, right? Like Bach.
What? I just thought it was Yuha. When was a Bach?
It's Yuha Bach.
Yuha Bach.
At this point, I feel like more syllables are added every 5 years. From like 5 years from now to Yuha Bach Mach. Like it's
I've heard a million things when starting to read Bleach. It was like I didn't know how to say it. I just said.
I always called them Yowatch. That's what.
Yowatch.
I was the first. Yeah, you watch or why watch. That's what I call them. It like very, very first why watch, and then you watch, and then Yuha. Now it's Yuha Bach. Like it's
You have
all
buff.
right. Yeah. So Mr. Bach is I think I would put him in the same tier as Madara. I think he's high A, highest of A.
He is like, I mean, as his technique would kind of portray Almighty, and I really like the sort of, because I feel like he's somewhat reminiscent of Aizen, but it's in a different way. I don't know how to really explain the way they're dominant in their fights. Like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to put into words without like previously thinking about it. But like they both have this sort of, I'm in this like supreme realm in comparison to the rest of the people that I come into contact with, and I think with both of their abilities, it fits their character really nicely. Like being able to see, I mean, essentially everything if you think about it, right? And having all of that be subject to his whims and things like that, it's just really fitting for his character. And even upon reread, his exit from the series, I would argue, is probably better than a lot of people give credit for, honestly. It's foreshadowed nicely. Like I get where it can kind of be this like, oh, what is this? But like, I don't know. On a reread, I definitely feel like he kind of exited the series pretty decently. But yeah.
I still think he's overshadowed by Aizen in terms of just his character. I'm not too much of a fan of him, but I can understand why a lot of people are.
Gotcha.
Like his exit, yeah. I mean, I would definitely have to reread it again because my memories just jogged with it being like it was more of a plot device rather than like him exiting in a proper manner, I guess. But other than that, I think he's fine at being an A. He's definitely menacing for me, but that's where I would have him. Zeref, though, I think he's cool. I don't really know much about him, but he's really cool, and I know his backstory. It's really sad. But Mass,
I think that's the thing that's compelling about Zeref from the little bit that I remember of Fairy Tail is he is a very I think he's It's tricky because there's two ways you can approach writing a character, especially when you want to make an antagonist sympathetic. So you could take your time with it and really show us this character throughout an entire arc or throughout the entire story. For example, Joker spends an entire movie doing this. Zuko throughout Avatar, like we get to see his whole character. Even Griffith, someone who's done things as horrible as him, we know where he comes from. And there are areas where you can pinpoint and go, okay, here, here, and here. With Zeref, from what I remember, it was just the backstory, which builds like this, yeah, you're sad, you're like, aw, and then you just move on, So Zeref, I can't speak all too much to him as an antagonist because I don't remember much else.
Suffering though, like he's never every time from what I remember,
Can he like not die or something?
He can't. No.
There's like an eternal suffering with him, basically.
He has an eternal suffering, and anytime he basically falls in love, that person dies, I'm pretty sure.
Dies, yeah. So it's sucky, like it's not good, So then it's yeah, but I can't
sympathize it with
I don't remember,
way, but like
yeah.
I don't remember.
But I don't remember enough past that to judge him honestly, so I just go NA.
I'm done. NA's fine then. But with that, guys, I think we're done. It's a lot longer than the last one. I don't mind though. But yeah, I think I could just wrap it up. So thank you guys for coming on. Their channel links will be in the description box down below. And if you guys are watching till then, appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.